The skies over Singapore burned crimson as Captain Nina Rodriguez watched the last transmission from Mars colony fade to static. She stood in Earth's final defense command, her weathered hands gripping the command console until her knuckles turned white. The message had been brief: Mars had fallen. Just like Lunar Base. Just like Europa Station. Just like every human colony across the solar system. Their Void Dominion had methodically extinguished humanity's presence in space, their black ships moving like a plague of locusts through the solar system. Their message was always the same: surrender and face extinction with dignity, or fight and face extinction in pain. Captain, Planetary Defense Grid reports multiple quantum ruptures forming beyond lunar orbit, Lieutenant Omar Hassan called out, his voice steady despite the terror in his eyes. The massive holographic display showed dozens of tiers in spacetime, each one birthing another Void Dominion warship. Nina straightened her back, years of combat experience evident in every movement. She had fought in the resource wars, led forces during the Antarctic crisis, and now stood as one of Earth's last commanding officers. Status of the Thunder Protocol. Colonel Wei Chan, her tactical officer, brought up a detailed satellite feed. Underground bases are sealed and powered. Civilian evacuation to deep shelters is at 89%. Military assets are in position. He paused, looking at her with grim determination. We're as ready as we'll ever be. But ready wasn't enough. Their Void Dominion had technology that seemed to defy physics itself. Their ships could phase through traditional defenses, their weapons could disintegrate matter at the atomic level, and their ground forces were nearly unstoppable. Nearly. General broadcast to all commands, Nina ordered, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's last stand. This is Captain Rodriguez. Mars has fallen. Lunar is gone. We are all that remains of human civilization. But here, on this planet, on our home, we make our stand. The command center fell silent as she continued, they expect us to break. To run. To beg for mercy like our colonies did. But they don't know Earth. They don't know that this planet forged us in fire and blood, through countless wars and disasters. They don't know that here, on this soil, every human being is a warrior waiting to be awakened. Radar stations across the globe began reporting enemy contact. Their Void Dominion's initial wave was massive, thousands of ships darkening Earth's skies like an artificial eclipse. All stations, initiate Thunder Protocol, Nina commanded. Activate the planetary defense grid. Ancient missile silos, hidden beneath mountains and deserts, rumbled to life. Orbital defense platforms, concealed behind sophisticated cloaking technology, powered up their main guns. In bunkers and bases across the planet, soldiers gripped their weapons and waited. The first shots fired were from their Void Dominion, beams of corrupted energy that could tear reality itself. But Earth was ready. Experimental quantum shields, developed in secret over decades, flickered to life around major cities and military installations. They wouldn't hold forever, but they didn't need to. Return fire, Nina ordered, her voice cold with controlled fury. Show them how Earth fights. The response was devastating. Thousands of kinetic kill vehicles, simple tungsten rods accelerated to relativistic speeds, launched from hidden silos. Rail guns, powered by underground fusion reactors, sent hypervelocity projectiles screaming into space. Particle beam weapons, disguised as civilian power installations, carved burning lines through the enemy fleet. Their Void Dominion's front line shattered under the assault. Their ships, for all their advanced technology, proved vulnerable to the sheer brutality of humanity's defensive weapons. It wasn't elegant. It wasn't clean. It was humanity fighting with everything they had. But it wasn't enough to stop them completely. The enemy's second wave pushed through, their ships taking heavy losses but pressing forward with mechanical determination. They began landing forces in remote areas, establishing beachheads for their main invasion. In the command center, Nina watched the tactical displays with fierce intensity. They thought we would be easy prey, she said, addressing her staff. They thought we would fall like our colonies. But they forgot something crucial: Earth isn't just another human settlement. It's our home. And humanity has spent its entire history learning how to fight for its home. Reports began flooding in from across the globe. In the Amazon, indigenous warriors were using ancient hunting grounds to ambush Void Dominion patrols. In the Hindu Kush, mountain fighters who had resisted empires for centuries were already bloodying the invaders. In the urban centers of every continent, civilians were taking up arms, forming resistance cells before the invasion had even properly begun. "Send word to all commands," Nina ordered, a fierce pride burning in her chest. The enemy wanted to see humanity on its knees. Instead, they'll see Earth's warriors standing tall. "We are humanity's last line of defense, and we will not fall. We will show them why Earth has always been feared among the stars." As the battle for Earth began in earnest, Nina Rodriguez stood at her command post, watching humanity rise to meet its greatest challenge. The Void Dominion had expected to find a broken species, weakened by the loss of its colonies. Instead, they found a planet of warriors, united in defiance, ready to show the galaxy why Earth was called the cradle of humanity's fighting spirit. The war for Earth had begun, and humanity's warriors were about to roar. 3 days into the invasion, the underground command center shook with distant explosions. Captain Nina Rodriguez studied the global tactical display as reports flooded in from around the world. The Void Dominion had established 27 major beachheads across Earth's surface, their crystalline fortresses rising like dark mountains from the scorched Earth. "Status report on Project Lazarus," Nina demanded, her eyes never leaving the tactical screens. The command center hummed with activity, officers and analysts working tirelessly at their stations. Major Raj Patel, head of special operations, stepped forward. "The bunkers are opening, Captain. They are awaking right now." His voice carried a mix of awe and anticipation. Project Lazarus had been humanity's best-kept secret, hundreds of thousands of elite soldiers kept in cryogenic stasis, warriors from every nation, preserved at their physical peak for this very moment. The first activation was happening in the Urals. Deep beneath the ancient mountains, bunker doors that hadn't opened in decades began to move. Inside, rows of cryopods hissed open, releasing their occupants, veterans of Earth's greatest conflicts, enhanced with cutting-edge biotechnology, and armed with weapons specifically designed to combat advanced alien threats. "Incoming transmission from Lazarus Actual," Lieutenant Hassan announced. The main screen flickered to life, showing Colonel Viktor Petrov, his face bearing the scars of battles fought long ago. Behind him, hundreds of warriors were gearing up, their movements precise and deliberate. "Captain Rodriguez," Victor's voice rumbled through the speakers, "the sleeping giants are awake. We stand ready to remind these aliens why Earth has never truly been conquered." Nina allowed herself a small smile. "Welcome back to the fight, Colonel. Your first target is the Siberian beachhead. Show them what Earth's warriors can do." The attack began at dawn. The Void Dominion, confident in their superior technology, had grown complacent. Their sensors detected the approaching force but dismissed it as another desperate human counterattack. They were wrong. The Lazarus forces struck like a thunderbolt. Decades of preserved combat experience combined with enhanced bodies and advanced weapons created a devastating effect. Quantum-tipped bullets pierced phase-shifted armor. EMP grenades disrupted alien shield matrices. Close-quarter combat teams demonstrated why human warriors were feared across the galaxy. Multiple Lazarus bunkers now activating worldwide, Colonel Wei reported, updating the tactical display. Green dots appeared across the globe, in the Rocky Mountains, the Andes, the Alps, the Himalayas. Earth's hidden armies were rising. In the war room, Nina coordinated the global counteroffensive. "Connect me to all Lazarus commands," she ordered. "It's time for Phase 2. The plan was audacious. While the Lazarus forces engaged the enemy directly, civilian resistance cells would strike at supply lines and communication nodes. Regular military units would provide fire support and strategic resources. It was warfare on a scale humanity had never attempted before, a perfectly coordinated dance of violence and resistance. Omar called out, his voice tight with excitement, "You need to see this." He brought up footage from the Siberian front. The Void Dominion's crystalline fortress was crumbling, its otherworldly architecture no match for the concentrated fury of Earth's awakened warriors. Colonel Petrov's forces had breached the outer defenses and were systematically destroying everything in their path. But the victory came with a cost. The Void Dominion, realizing the threat these human warriors posed, began deploying their elite units. The sky above the battlefield darkened as massive drop ships descended, releasing creatures that seemed pulled from humanity's worst nightmares. Lazarus units, be advised, Nina broadcast, enemy is deploying heavy assault forms. Fall back to defensive positions and dash. Negative, command, Victor's voice cut through, backdrop filled with the sounds of intense combat. We didn't sleep for decades to retreat now. Push forward. Show these aliens what human determination really means. The battle that followed would be spoken of for generations. The Lazarus forces, despite facing enemies that could tear tanks apart with their bare hands, refused to yield. They fought with a combination of tactical brilliance and raw fury that the Void Dominion had never encountered before. In the command center, Nina watched as similar scenes played out across the globe. In the Andes, Lazarus forces were using ancient Incan paths to outflank alien positions. In the Alps, enhanced snipers were picking off enemy commanders from impossible distances. In the Himalayas, close combat specialists were proving that human martial arts, combined with modern enhancements, could overcome any technological advantage. Message from the Chinese Defense Command, Omar reported. Their Lazarus forces have linked up with local resistance cells. They are pushing the enemy back across the entire front. Similar reports began pouring in from around the world. The Void Dominion, for the first time since the invasion began, was losing ground. Their perfectly ordered battle plans were crumbling in the face of humanity's awakened fury. Nina stood before the command center's main screen, watching as humanity's counterattack gained momentum. Send word to all commands, she ordered, her voice firm with conviction. The enemy thought they could break us. Instead, they've awakened every warrior spirit this planet has ever produced. We are humanity's sword and shield, and we will show them why Earth has always been the crucible of warriors. As the battles raged across the planet, something unprecedented was happening. The Void Dominion, faced with resistance unlike anything they had encountered in their centuries of conquest, began to realize their mistake. They had invaded Earth expecting to find a weakened species ready for harvest. Instead, they had awakened a planet of warriors, each one ready to fight until their last breath for their home. The war was far from over, but for the first time since the invasion began, hope burned bright in human hearts. Earth's warriors had roared their defiance to the stars, and the galaxy would never be the same. The war room's atmosphere was electric with tension as Captain Nina Rodriguez reviewed the latest battlefield reports. 1 month into the invasion, Earth had achieved what the Void Dominion had thought impossible, not just survival, but resistance. Yet the price had been staggering. Cities lay in ruins, millions had been lost, and the enemy still held significant strongholds across the planet. Incoming priority transmission, Lieutenant Omar Hassan announced. Source, Pacific Command. The main screen flickered to life, revealing Admiral Takeshi Yamamoto's weathered face. The old warrior had come out of retirement the moment the invasion began, bringing with him decades of naval combat experience. Captain Rodriguez, Yamamoto's voice was steady despite the chaos visible behind him. Project Kraken is ready. Nina's heart raced. Project Kraken had been theoretical, a desperate plan born from studying the wreckage of fallen Void Dominion ships. You're certain? The technology works, Yamamoto confirmed. We've successfully adapted their phase shift technology to our submarines. The entire Pacific Fleet is being retrofitted as we speak. This was the breakthrough they'd been waiting for. The oceans had always been humanity's secret advantage. Their Void Dominion, evolved on a desert world, had never fully grasped the strategic importance of Earth's seas. Begin Operation Leviathan, Nina ordered. Coordinate with all Lazarus units for simultaneous strikes. The plan was audacious. While the retrofitted submarine fleet would strike from beneath the waves, Colonel Petrov's Lazarus forces would launch a massive ground offensive. The enemy wouldn't know what hit them. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, the first phase began. Submarines, now equipped with stolen alien technology, moved through the water like ghosts. Their new phase shift drives allowed them to pass through solid matter, emerging from the seabed directly beneath enemy strongholds. First wave approaching targets, Colonel Wei Chang reported, monitoring the tactical display. Impact in 3, 2, 1. The coordinated strike was devastating. Submarines materialized inside enemy shield perimeters, launching salvos of specially modified torpedoes. Their weapons, enhanced with captured void technology, tore through the crystalline structures of alien fortresses. Simultaneously, Lazarus forces struck from land, their enhanced warriors moving with deadly precision. Multiple enemy strongholds breached along the Pacific Rim, Omar reported, his voice rising with excitement. They are in complete disarray. But their void dominion wasn't finished. From their orbital platforms, they launched their most terrifying weapons yet, massive biomechanical constructs that plummeted through the atmosphere like falling stars. Shepard units detected. Wei's voice was tense. Enemy deploying their elite guard. The Shepard units were the stuff of nightmares, 20-story tall war machines piloted by the Void Dominion's most fanatical warriors. Where they landed, the Earth itself seemed to scream in pain. Nina watched as one of these monstrosities engaged a Lazarus team in Seoul. The human warriors, despite their enhancements, looked like ants before it. But then something remarkable happened. "This is Commander Jin Song," a voice crackled over the comm requesting permission to deploy the Thunder Children. The Thunder Children, cybernetically enhanced pilots linked directly to massive mechanical suits. It was another secret project, born from decades of preparing for this very moment. "Permission granted," Nina responded. "Show them what humanity's got." The battle that followed was unlike anything Earth had ever seen. Thunder Children units launched from hidden bunkers across Asia, their mechanized forms rising to meet the Shepard units head-on. The clash of titans shook the Earth, as human ingenuity and determination met alien technological superiority. In the chaos of battle, a new discovery was made. Lieutenant Yuki Tanaka, a Thunder Children pilot, found a critical weakness in the Shepard unit's design. Their neural networks, she reported through heavy static, they are vulnerable to localized EMP bursts. If we time it right. Nina immediately broadcast to all Thunder Children units, focus EMP weapons on their head sections. Coordinated strikes only. Make every shot count. The effect was immediate. Shepard units began to fall, their massive forms crashing to Earth as precisely timed electromagnetic pulses scrambled their control systems. Their Void Dominion, for the first time, experienced true fear. But the victory revealed something else, something that changed the entire nature of the war. Inside each fallen Shepard unit, Earth scientists discovered star maps, hyperspace coordinates, and most importantly, the location of the Void Dominion's home world. "Captain," Colonel Wei's voice was quiet but intense, "with this data, we could take the fight to them." Nina studied the tactical displays, watching as humanity's forces continued to push back the invasion. The oceans had become death traps for the enemy, with phase-shifting submarines striking at will. The Thunder Children had proven that even the Dominion's most fearsome weapons could be defeated. And now, they had the means to strike at the heart of their empire. "Send word to all commands," she ordered, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's future. "Phase 1 is complete. Earth is no longer just defending, we're taking the fight to the stars." Across the planet, the news spread like wildfire. Humanity had not just survived the invasion, they had learned from it, adapted, and grown stronger. The Void Dominion had wanted to break Earth's spirit. Instead, they had forged it into something unbreakable. As preparations began for humanity's first interstellar counteroffensive, Nina looked at the star map showing the enemy's home world. The Void Dominion had never faced a species like humanity before, a species that grew stronger through adversity, that learned from every defeat, that refused to accept extinction as an option. Earth's warriors had done more than roar, they had shown the galaxy that humanity would never be conquered. And now, they were about to show their Void Dominion why you should never corner a species that had spent its entire history perfecting the art of war. The captured Void Dominion shipyards over Mars buzzed with activity as humanity prepared for its first interstellar offensive. Captain Nina Rodriguez stood on the command deck of the EWS Prometheus, Earth's first star carrier, watching as crews modified captured alien vessels with human weapons systems. The last 2 months had transformed humanity from prey to predator, and now they were ready to strike back. Final systems check complete, Colonel Wei Chang reported from his tactical station. The fleet is ready. Around the Prometheus, 50 ships of various sizes waited in formation, a combination of captured void vessels and hybrid human designs. Status of Operation Spearhead. Nina asked, her eyes fixed on the distant stars that would soon become their battlefield. All special forces are aboard and ready, Major Raj Patel confirmed. Lazarus teams, Thunder Children units, and our new Phantom Corps are all in position. The Phantom Corps was humanity's latest achievement, soldiers equipped with reverse-engineered phase shift technology, capable of walking through solid matter. They were the perfect infiltration units, trained to strike at the heart of enemy strongholds. Message from Admiral Yamamoto, Lieutenant Omar Hassan announced. Pacific Fleet submarines have successfully deployed through the lunar hypergate. They are in position for the synchronized attack. Nina took a deep breath. This was humanity's moment, their first coordinated strike against the Void Dominion's core systems. The intel extracted from fallen Shepherd units had revealed not just the location of the enemy's homeworld, but also their entire defense network. All ships, battle stations, she ordered. Commence Operation Thunderstrike. The fleet moved as one, entering the artificial hypergate constructed from salvaged Void technology. The journey that would have taken years at conventional speeds lasted mere hours. They emerged in the Dominion's home system, and for a moment, there was absolute silence. Then all hell broke loose. Phase-shifted submarines, having arrived hours earlier through a separate gate, erupted from the ice sheets of the system's outer planets, launching salvos of enhanced torpedoes at orbital defense platforms. Thunder Children units, deployed from carrier ships, engaged enemy Shepherd units in the space around gas giant moons. Multiple enemy contacts. Wei called out. They are scrambling their defense fleet. The Void Dominion's response was swift but predictable. They had never expected their prey to follow them home, never imagined that humanity would dare to strike at their very heart. Launch Phantom Corps teams, Nina commanded. Target their command and control centers. Across the battlefield, invisible warriors phased through enemy hull plating, appearing inside Void Dominion vessels like ghosts. The enemy's superior technology meant nothing when humans with phase shift gear could simply walk through their walls and plant charges directly on their reactors. Omar's voice was tense with excitement. We're picking up transmissions from the planet's surface. There's panic in their command structure. They've never been attacked in their home system before. Nina allowed herself a grim smile. Deploy the Lazarus drop pods. Colonel Petrov has been waiting for this. Thousands of pods streaked through the alien atmosphere, each containing enhanced warriors eager for revenge. The Void Dominion had brought war to Earth, now Earth was returning the favor. Enemy fleet is breaking formation, Wei reported. They are falling back to secondary defense positions. But humanity's warriors weren't about to let them regroup. Thunder Children units, now space-capable thanks to modified Void technology, pursued retreating enemy ships with relentless determination. Phase-shifted submarines emerged from planetary ice caps, their modified torpedoes devastating ground installations. Message from Colonel Petrov, Omar announced. Lazarus forces have secured multiple groundside objectives. They've captured their central military academy. The irony wasn't lost on Nina. The very institution that had trained the Void Dominion's warrior class was now under the control of Earth's finest soldiers. But the enemy had one last card to play. From the surface of their homeworld, massive structures began to rise, ancient weapons platforms, preserved for a day they never thought would come. Multiple energy signatures. Wei's voice was urgent. They are charging something big. All units, execute Pattern Omega, Nina ordered without hesitation. It was a strategy they had developed specifically for this moment, based on everything they had learned about fighting the Dominion. The human fleet scattered in what appeared to be chaos but was actually perfectly coordinated movement. Phantom Corps teams, already infiltrated into the weapon platforms, began their sabotage. Thunder Children units created deliberate targets, drawing enemy fire while submarines phased through the planetary crust to strike at power generators. The battle that followed would be remembered for centuries. Human ingenuity and adaptability met alien technological superiority in a clash that lit up the system like a newborn star. The Void Dominion fought with the desperation of a species that had never known defeat. But humanity fought with something stronger, their combined experience of countless wars, the determination forged through millennia of conflict, and the unshakable spirit of a species that refused to be extinguished. Enemy command structure is collapsing, Omar reported. Their remaining ships are standing down. Nina looked at the tactical display, watching as the last pockets of resistance surrendered. Humanity had done the impossible, they had taken the fight to their would-be exterminators and won. Send word to Earth, she ordered, her voice carrying the weight of history. The Void Dominion has fallen. Their homeworld is under our control. She paused, looking at the alien world below. And let them know, this is just the beginning. The message that traveled back to Earth wasn't just about victory. It was proof that humanity wasn't just capable of defending itself, it was capable of reaching out into the galaxy and reshaping it. The Void Dominion had wanted to erase humanity from existence. Instead, they had forced humanity to evolve, to adapt, to become something greater than they had ever imagined. As the dust settled on their conquered homeworld, the Void Dominion learned what so many others would come to understand: when you push humanity to the brink, when you leave them no choice but to fight with everything they have, you don't just awaken warriors. You create legends. 1 year after the fall of their Void Dominion, Captain Nina Rodriguez, now Admiral Rodriguez, stood before the newly formed Terran Defense Council in the rebuilt Singapore Command Center. The holographic displays showed not just Earth, but dozens of worlds across multiple star systems. Humanity had not just survived, they had inherited an empire. The last Dominion holdout surrendered this morning, she reported to the assembled leaders. The Arcturus system is now under Terran control. Behind her, the tactical display showed the full extent of humanity's explosive growth into the cosmos. Colonel Wei Chan, her faithful tactical officer, brought up a new set of readings. We've discovered something interesting in the Dominion's ancient records. They weren't the first to try conquering Earth. He paused, letting the information sink in. They were just the first to fail. The revelation sent murmurs through the council chamber. According to the recovered data, Earth had been quarantined millennia ago, marked as too dangerous to conquer. Humanity's warrior spirit hadn't been born during the invasion, it had been there all along, dormant, waiting. That's why they struck our colonies first, Admiral Yamamoto added from his position near the Pacific Fleet displays. They thought they could break us by cutting us off from space. Instead, they forced us all back to Earth, Nina completed the thought. They united humanity in a way nothing else could have. The changes were evident everywhere. The Lazarus program had expanded, with new generations of enhanced warriors training alongside veterans of the Earth War. The Thunder Children had evolved into a full-fledged space combat force, their massive mechanized suits now capable of interstellar travel. The Phantom Corps had become legendary, their phase shift technology revolutionizing both warfare and exploration. Message from Colonel Petrov, Lieutenant Omar Hassan announced. The integration of former Dominion worlds is proceeding ahead of schedule. On the main screen, footage showed human warriors working alongside former Void Dominion subjects, species that had been enslaved for centuries. Earth's victory hadn't just freed humanity, it had liberated dozens of alien races. We've received another diplomatic request, Major Raj Patel reported, now serving as head of interstellar relations. The Centauri Confederation wants to establish formal ties. They are the fifth alliance this month. Nina wasn't surprised. Word had spread quickly across the galaxy, Earth wasn't just a world of warriors, but a force for change. The sight of human ships in a star system no longer brought fear, but hope. Admiral, Wei called out, his voice urgent. Long-range sensors are picking up something. At the edge of charted space. The tactical display shifted, showing a massive energy signature unlike anything they'd seen before. Early analysis suggested it was artificial and ancient. The Dominion records mentioned something, Oma added, quickly translating alien text. They called it the Great Dark, a threat so terrible they fled across the galaxy to escape it. Nina studied the readings, her mind racing with possibilities. The Void Dominion had invaded Earth because they were running from something worse, something that was now stirring after millennia of silence. Send word to all commands, she ordered, her voice carrying the same strength that had helped lead humanity to victory. Initiate Protocol Vanguard. Humanity didn't fight its way to the stars to hide from new threats. Across Earth and its newly established colonies, humanity's warriors prepared once again. But this time was different. They weren't fighting for survival, they were fighting to protect not just Earth, but all the species that now looked to humanity for leadership. In orbital shipyards, new vessels were under construction, combining human ingenuity with advanced alien technology. The Phantom Corps were already training specialist teams for deep space reconnaissance. Thunder Children units were being modified for cosmic-scale warfare. The Lazarus program was producing warriors specifically enhanced for void combat. We've come a long way, Nina mused, watching as Earth's combined fleet assembled in high orbit, a sight that would have seemed impossible just a year ago. Human ships flew alongside reformed Void Dominion vessels, their crews working together to face the unknown threat. The galaxy's watching, Wei noted, standing beside her. They want to see what Earth's warriors will do next. Nina smiled, remembering the desperate days when they had fought in Earth's ruins, when survival seemed impossible. Now, humanity stood as a guardian of the galaxy, their warrior spirit not just preserved but elevated to new heights. Send a message to all commands, she ordered, her voice carrying across the unified fleet channels. Humanity fought its way back from the brink of extinction. We turned invasion into liberation. We transformed enemies into allies. And now, we face a new challenge. The fleet moved as one, Earth ships, Thunder Children carriers, Phantom Corps stealth vessels, and reformed Dominion warships, all united under the banner of humanity's unconquerable spirit. We are no longer just Earth's warriors, Nina declared, watching as the combined fleet prepared for FTL jump. We are the guardians of all those who wish to live free. The galaxy tried to break us, but instead, we became its shield. As the fleet jumped into the unknown, carrying the hopes of countless species, Nina reflected on how far they had come. The Void Dominion had sought to exterminate humanity, believing them to be primitive and weak. Instead, they had awakened something unstoppable, not just warriors, but protectors, not just survivors, but leaders. Earth's warriors had roared into battle when all seemed lost, and that roar had echoed across the stars, transforming not just humanity, but the very fabric of galactic civilization. Now, as they faced an even greater challenge, that same warrior spirit would light their way forward, not just for Earth, but for all who dared to dream of freedom among the stars. The story of Earth's warriors was far from over. It was, in many ways, just beginning.